I never really understood the big deal when it came to weddings. But since moving back home to Nigeria 6 years ago and getting married, I soon found out how big a deal it really is. But what happens once the party's over and it's just the two of you? I started to think about this. As much as I've heard about the romance of it all, I've also heard about the stress, the fallouts, fights, and everything in between. Divorced after 6 months, happy being a mistress, the 7-year itch, 8 years dating but no ring in sight. The topics were endless. So I wanted to see what regular people had to say on these topics. I've spoken to single people, married people, and counselors. Maybe if we're all open about our experiences, someone out there may be able to take something good out of this. And I might learn a thing or two myself. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of So You Want to Get Married. So You Want to Get Married is table talk where we talk about anything and everything to do with love, dating, marriage, sex, you name it, we talk about it. Today I've got a fantastic panel of guests. First up, we have got media personality, Ebuka. Ebuka, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Great to be here.
Good to see you. Looking fresh. I like the all white. Very nice.
Marriage has been good to me.
Oh, it really has. I'm also joined by fashion designer Tosin. Tosin, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
You look fantastic. I'm great. I love your dress, by the way.
Thank you very much.
One of your pieces?
Yes.
Very, very nice.
Thank you.
And last but definitely not least, we are joined by the MD of 25th and Staffing. How are you doing?
Hi, Dolapo.
Hi, very good to see you.
Nice to see you again, too.
So guys, today's topic is how to survive your first year of marriage. Now, I got this topic idea from Isle Perfect, which is a blog, and the three of you are married, and you've been married for over 1 year. So it's going to be really interesting to get your perspective on how to survive the first year of marriage. So first up, I'm going to read a testimonial and then let me know what you think, okay? So this is from Bosse from Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. And she says, I unfortunately ended up divorcing my first husband after 2 years as we weren't fully aware or prepared for what would happen after we said I do. We kind of rushed and thought love was enough. We didn't have premarital counseling, which was silly, as now I'm hearing that people even go for premarital engagement counseling too. Just going to read something else. This is from healthresearchfunding.org. It says, couples who underwent counseling before their wedding had a 30% higher marital success rate than those who didn't. Now, my first question is, who here? Why are you laughing?
I'm like, what is premarital counseling? I don't even know that anybody here knows that.
Really?
In this part, is it a thing in Nigeria? Is what
I mean, like, you know, counseling in your church or something like that.
Marriage class. I went to marriage class.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
did any of you undergo premarital counseling?
Oh, yes, I did.
You did? Did you?
I did.
I went to marriage class in church, yes.
Okay.
For 3 months. It was a long
Okay,
it was a
so
long
that's
period.
that's
So I guess
basically
if that's
the
what
same
they mean,
thing,
yeah.
you know? Okay, so do you agree with the fact that premarital counseling can help your marriage, make your marriage more successful? Tosin, let's hear from you. What do you think?
Not so much,
Okay.
because what you're told is theoretical. Now, when you get into marriage and then you don't practice what you were told, and then I'm not going to say like everything you were told is going to work 100% for you. Some will work for you and some will not work for you because, I mean, these are two different beings. It might not just work for you. So I think you need a lot of knowledge. You need to read books. It should also help you. I think that would do a lot. And that still does not still guarantees, I mean, a happy and successful marriage.
Okay. And then what do you
think?
think?
A lot of things go into it.
So I'm in agreement with her. I don't necessarily think that going to counseling can change anything. I really believe you need to know the person that you're married to.
Okay.
I'm lucky that I was friends with the person since my teenage years, since we were teenagers. So I really knew who I was marrying to a certain extent, because you really don't know somebody until you're in the marriage.
Yeah, true.
But at least I knew enough about him to know that this is the person I wanted to settle down with.
Okay.
So I don't know if, I mean, for me, I think we had like a 4 or 5 hour counseling session with our pastor.
Okay.
He told me some things that were helpful in the marriage that I could take on, but I don't think if I didn't take that class that my marriage would be successful or non-successful. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ebuka, do you think that it helped you or helped prepare you for your marriage?
Yes.
Okay. In what way?
Definitely. I agree with what they've said. I mean, nobody's going to tell you how your marriage is going to be. There's no template for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, I went to marriage class. I'm Catholic, and the Catholic Church has this 3-month period where you go once a week, and there's a different topic every day. So one day was how to manage your finances. The next day was sex. The next day was childbearing. So we had a lot of people come to talk to us about several things. And why I say it helps was, it was more about telling us about warning signs and things to look out for. So while they were not telling you, oh, this is how it's going to be, they were like, okay, these are things you probably should not do, or these are things you should think about before you do certain things. And I think it helped. And you always hear that some of the biggest reasons why marriages fail are things like finances. It wasn't something I deeply thought about before I got married. That one in particular stood out for me during the marriage class, when they're like, you guys need to discuss how you want to manage your finances. Because a lot of marriages break up that way when it comes to, okay, so how much are we really earning? How much are we really going to spend?
True.
How much are you bringing for the housekeeping and stuff like that? So to an extent, it did help.
Okay.
I would like to buffer his point. See, he went to a 3-month class.
Yeah.
You know,
and you say was it yours just 5 hours, or was that just
hours? I just kind of put 5.
Yeah. So it was like a one-day thing.
Yeah, like a one-day thing. Yeah. So I think if a lot of people probably went to a 3 months or a 2 months or a 1 month, kind of like a boot camp, I believe that could assist with the success. Yeah, help with marriage.
Do you think, Tosa, do you think that there is a myth around this whole your first year of marriage is really, really tough? Because that's why this is a topic, in the sense of how do you've gone from being single entities and you've now come as one, and especially you're now living together. So that is usually a shock to the system. So do you think it's a myth, or it's actually true? The first year is a bit of a shock, and that's why it's, how do you survive this?
I think for real, it's a shock.
Was it a shock for you?
Yeah, it was. Because you just wake up and you're like, what am I doing here? What is going on here? Where is mommy? Where's daddy? I mean, the normal routine that you do every day, everything just gets disrupted. So when you start having kids, I mean, my life was on hold for like 2 years because I had a baby, and I'm like, God, I had to like pack up shop. Yeah. Because I couldn't do the normal things that I'm passionate about. So, you know, a lot of things would change about you, and then, you know, you start to adjust. You have to reset your mind to like, okay, this is the real life, this is the new me, and then you just accept it.
Okay. Ebuka, from a male perspective, what was your first year of marriage like?
I don't know that it's a myth, and I can see why people would say that, the first marriage is the toughest, because you're beginning to just discover the person. You can never really know the person, like they've said, until you actually start living with someone. Is a whole other conversation, and it's the little things, the cliche pressing the toothpaste from the middle, things like that actually gets to people. Yeah. You roll the toilet roll the other way, like who turned it around? Little things like that. And I don't know that it was, I've been married for just about 1.5 years now, so I don't know what the other years are going to hold for me. Yeah. But I don't know that it was crazy tough for me. We had a few fights. We've had moments where we're like, really? Did we really end up together, Yeah. Or I didn't know this all this while, You start finding out things, but I don't know that they were so shocking that I wanted to just go away. Yeah. But yeah, I think why it's tough is that you start discovering things you thought you knew, or things you didn't know at all, and you're like, if I had known, or maybe I should have asked more questions. Yeah. But the truth is that you can't ask all the questions. There are some things you would just find out as you go along. So,
very true.
But some people, they find out really shocking things, and they're just like,
wow.
Okay, I'm done.
Yes. Just to add on to what Ebuka said, you discover new things and all of that. How do you handle that, or how did you handle that rather?
Okay, so I don't want to say tough.
Okay.
I don't want to use the word tough, but I get what everyone says in the context. I think, you have the in-laws, my parents, the siblings. When you're living alone, I lived alone for a very long time. I married 3 years ago. So I like to say we married late, but he always say we didn't marry late. We married in our mid-30s. I don't know if that's a way for him to feel like we're still young. But so I think probably marrying later helps.
Okay.
Because you know who you are, you have in-laws, you know how to deal. I'm not saying that I dealt with it 100%, but I think if you come in with being who you are in the marriage, then everyone kind of, if you pretend, do this to your in-laws, pretend to your sibling-in-laws, pretend to, everybody around you, then you can't keep up with the charade later on, then it becomes a problem. But I think everybody everybody's gonna have some discomfort for the new person that comes into the marriage. You know, he was everybody's brother or cousin or son, and now he has to now share this new life with this wife, right? So there's some discomfort there, and I just think that women, we need to just learn how to navigate it without losing who we are, because I'm very, very much an advocate for remaining true in a marriage as a woman.
Okay, so I just have something else to read. This was tips for the royal couple from a relationship psychologist, Susan Quilliam. Princess Kate and Prince William in the UK were getting married, right? And she had tips for them, and she had some things: prepare for change, keep talking, the danger areas. But something that she said struck a chord with me. Said, don't be too clingy. You'll get invited to places as a couple and your girlfriend will say, you probably want to be with him tonight, but don't think you need to spend all your time together. Get some time alone and allow your partner the same. It's healthy. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like she said, that it was good for her that she didn't get into marriage early. She got into marriage at a time that she had already discovered herself. I think that's a good thing. Because you see a lot of people who get into marriage, some, not all, in their early 20s, and then when they are maybe in their 30s, they start saying things like, if I had known, I wouldn't have married.
They start discovering who they are.
Because at this age, you know what you want. Right. You know where you want to go. You know where you're heading, because you're heading towards 40, for crying out loud. You know virtually everything about yourself.
You're right, and see, we don't, because sometimes I get attacked when I say, that it's better to marry later on in,
I mean, there are also pitfalls of
exactly. That's why, so I want to clarify
because you might
that.
be too set in your ways.
Yes.
And we all know marriage is about compromise.
Right.
But I know what you mean. I'm of the same standing, but then that's probably because I got married later as well. So what else am I going to say? But sorry, your point you were saying? Okay, so
now at that stage that you already know, now you have your own clique, you have your own life. I mean, you have a life with your husband, which I think is good, but you should also get a life outside your husband. Because I mean, what if something happens and then you get stuck? I don't think it's healthy that you don't have a life outside me and my husband. I think you should also do other things. I mean, I don't know, just do something outside that is not always. I mean, there are times that you and your husband are not in good terms. What do you do?
Yeah, right. That's usually the test when you're like, oh, I have no friends.
and then when he finds out that you are stuck, he's happy. But when he sees that you have things that you're doing, you're not even bothered about what he's thinking. It calms down and I'm like, oh, this girl, she's having a life. I mean, it gets them to think.
Ibka, what do you think about that? The whole don't be too clingy with your spouse.
I totally agree. I think every guy agrees.
Because
I mean, I'm not gonna say that guys are not clingy. I mean, there's some guys who are also very clingy to their wives and all of that. But I know most guys like a few moments where everybody can breathe. And have your time with your friends or with your job, whatever it is. I mean, you're not going to spend 25 hours of the day with this one person, because actually at some point, besides the fact that it's becomes a case of I don't have other friends, I don't have anything else to do. I feel like it also kills, I don't use the word mystery, but it helps when you go discover things and come back and you have even more things to talk about, and it helps build the relationship. So I'm all for it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys very much. We're actually going to go on to our question of the day. Okay. If you guys are watching, make sure you join the conversation. How do you survive your first year of marriage? We want to hear from you, and you can send messages to our social media handles and to our email on the screen now. So our question of the day has nothing to do with what we're talking about, which is why I love it. So I'm going to read it out, and I want you guys to let me know what your thoughts are. There's no right or wrong answer, just sharing is caring. Okay, so it says, we were planning to visit my mother-in-law with our 2 young children over Easter. We asked her to be careful not to give our 6-year-old daughter too much chocolate as she's overweight. She was furious. She said that we're controlling and always expect the rest of the family to pander to our desires. Furthermore, she argued she'd always made her grandson chocolate cake, hot chocolate, and biscuits. Although I'm happy for a grandparent to give some treats, I wanted her to hear our concern. Our daughter has been weighed by the health team and labeled very overweight. I don't want her to grow up with weight issues and subsequent dieting obsessions and eating disorders. Should we still visit? If so, on what terms? How will you even get out of the visit is the question. What do you guys think?
Wow.
So everyone's like, I know what my mother-in-law to watch this and go,
So that's a difficult question, but for me, I mean, I know when I have a child,
Yeah.
it will be around my mother-in-law a lot, so I have no choice. I think that's building a good relationship with your in-laws, I mean, so to speak. I don't know. Sometimes when I say in-laws, it just feels like an outlaw, you know, like I'm
you're very
outcasting
far
with your
away
family.
family.
Building a relationship with them so that if you do say something in love, right, that they would, you know, be more understanding. I think I could comfortably tell my mother-in-law now that, you know, please don't give, you know, I mean, I don't even have to have please. You know what I mean? Like we have a relationship that I could be expressive, that I could tell her and she would know, I mean, not to do that because she knows, she would have known that the child had all these issues because I'd probably be telling her anyway. So I just think in that case, because it seems like that person may be afraid to tell the mother-in-law or the mother-in-law may take offense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that relationship is probably
a bit
broken somewhere.
So would you suggest that she should visit, and on what terms? I mean, her question is, so if I do visit, she doesn't want the same thing to happen again, so what should she do?
That's what I'm saying. It depends on how often
They have to-
exactly. I mean, if you're going to see her once a month, twice a I wouldn't bring it up. You know, if it's just twice a year, you know what I mean? If it's just twice a year, but if you're going all the time, then it is your obligation to bring it up because it's, you know, your child and you need to be a
So
parent.
what are your thoughts?
I really don't know. Seriously, I really don't know. I think I'll just stay away.
Really?
Save myself from
Just
a whole
to
lot of
save yourself the
headache.
hassle? Okay. Ibuka, what would you do?
My mother-in-law is probably this type of mother-in-law
Oh, really?
who would treat it because
Yeah.
I mean grandkids are like her world, you
yeah.
know. But I honestly think the lady in the question there is actually shifting blame. To be very honest, I don't see how you're going to blame your mother-in-law for your daughter's weight issues. To be very honest, I don't want to believe your daughter, like she said, goes there every day. Even if it's twice a month,
Right.
two, 3 chocolates a month is not going to make.
What do you do?
So
You
the
just
rest
make
of
sure
the
you
time-
starve the child before you go to her house.
Like, but
I'm
exactly. The
joking.
rest of the time, the child is with you. What are
Yeah.
you doing to make sure? Let's not shift the blame. Unless she basically lives with your mother-in-law, then
And then that's
a whole other
different-
conversation.
yeah.
Then you have to sit down and have a conversation and say, "Mommy, please, my
Right.
child needs to grow and live a healthy life."
Yeah.
But if it's a occasional visits, you have to fix it.
All right. Well, those were fantastic comments. Thank you guys so much. You've been fantastic guests. And hopefully we'll see you sometime soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
All right. That's it for another episode of So You Want to Get Married. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.